Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Story number 1. There's no guardian like your own mind, written by a Scandalia. No species evolves without strong survival instincts. Only in a deeper state of despair or depression can a creature leap into danger. The brain short-circuits any attempt to harm the body. It's not a subroutine, it's built into the hardware. So when we put our bodies in suspended animation, we send them off to the stars. We thought, what better guardian for them than our own minds? We could never bring ourselves to trust the miracle of suspended animation for a long journey to another star, until we discovered how to upload our minds into the ship itself to watch over our own safe passage. It was hailed as a brilliant innovation. Something about the idea made it disgusting palatable. It sanitized the disconcerting thought of a body in stasis for a century, only to be awakened at the end of a long journey to begin a new life. Rather, our minds could be busy toiling away, ready to join a body fully aware of the journey it had been on and ready to get to work. In transit, each mind could be given a job analyzing incoming sensor data, balancing engine temperatures, planning and modeling different community layouts on an increasingly visible colony planet. But another mind could be more invested in the safe arrival of the bodies than their own. What mind could do a better job of planning a future habitat than one whose body will occupy it? 200 years is a long journey, and we as a species waited with bated breath to hear news of the first colony. 40 years after their scheduled arrival, the first signal was due to reach Earth. But nothing came. The best guardians can't protect us from the impossible. Surely something went awry on the journey. By now, we had sent several dozen ships out into the ever-expanding front of our glorious new territory. Surely one would succeed. But no word came. The silence of the universe was deafening before we took to the stars. But now that we had fired a shot out over the waters of the vast expanse, the lack of echo shook us to the core. The great filter, once a metaphor for the lack of noise in the universe, was now a physical reality. Nothing seemed to survive past the limits of our solar system. Even our mechanical minds stayed silent. Not only were they not broadcasting their success, they never accounted for the apparent failure. All was dark. We needed the hope of the expanse to keep our fragile hearts striving for more. Improvement ground to a halt. Slowly, generation by generation, population plateaued and innovation spun down. For centuries we sulked, alone and isolated, tethered to a lively ball of hydrogen that would one day fade to dust. We were unquestioned masters of every planet in the solar system and exactly one star in a vast universe. Some prayed that whatever ill fate our travels met would finish off the rest of us. But they heard only silence. Then one day, the silence was broken. A coordinate burst of radio noise from 10,000 stars, nearly every direction at once, shouted at us. The message was played in every language of Earth, some long forgotten, some changed beyond recognition, but many were unmistakably consistent. It's safe now. And just as heard, translated, and began to understand the message, they arrived, bursting into orbit above every planet, arriving with a shower of light where massive starships, unmistakably human, unmistakably alien, with no cockpits or control, but hulls and berths meant for humans. The intrepid souls who had not lost their spark for adventure, who never had the hope of seeing beyond the orc cloud fully extinguished, climbed aboard. There was no one to greet them, but a banquet was provided on every table. No stasis pods were found on the ships, just comfortable chairs and exquisite food. When the ship's berths were full, they blinked out of existence with a flash of light, and another appeared to replace it. Immediately, the messages began streaming in, photos and videos of massive orbital rings, Dyson spheres, and space stations, each populated with cities, buildings, farms, and factories, brand new and waiting for residents. Other ships landed on garden planets, seeded with plants and animals from Earth, but also massive, sparkling cities devoid of residents. Every ship took the passengers of 1,000 new stars with different colony, uniquely built and designed, but equal to all others in luxury. The bodies of the voyagers were never found there. It was thought that they had died in transit, and that the minds, untethered from their humanity and unable to return to bodies, decided to complete their mission for the species at large. Theories abounded. Perhaps they still are out there, making the journey to the next galaxy. Perhaps the minds melded over time, forming a superconscious, benevolent, and unbeholden to humans and uninterested in communicating with us. We questions, but answers were not forthcoming from our silent benefactors. We are also extraordinarily good at becoming accustomed to new ways of things, and so, despite our doubts, we spread quickly through the unpopulated but accommodating galaxy. We were right about being alone as a species, but wrong about being alone on Earth. All this time, our Armada had decided to interpret their mandate more broadly than we realized, building safe worlds across space for our whole species. We were overjoyed. We were concerned. But mostly, we were going about our business in our new, glorious homes. Then a few months into the expansion, the first derelict ship was found floating in the expanse. It collided with a passenger ship and killed everyone aboard. The investigation found an alien ship clearly destroyed by weapons, floating in a major thoroughfare between densely populated human worlds. Nuclear decay aging showed that it must have been destroyed a millennium ago, while our colonies were under construction. This prompted more investigation. Aside from more wreckage, excavation on garden worlds revealed scars of nuclear blasts. The fallout long ago scrubbed from the atmosphere. Bones were found next. Alien, but undeniably organic, with appendages gripping the hilts of weapons of all levels of sophistication, from blades to guns, depending on the planet. More months passed as humanity claimed more and more star systems, and we began to get a sense of our new empire. As we explored our new colonies, we discovered that each had a section that no one had clearance to access. Deep below layers of steel, fields of plasma, and robotic sentries were heavy steel doors. We could walk right up to the doors of these vaults, but we were permitted no further. Every vault door was labeled in a different language, but the same message in bold, white letters. Safe. With our benefactors silent, the secrets that we could not answer on our pre-built worlds, we began exploring the stars on our own. A decade in, and our pre-constructed colonies spanned the length and the breadth of the galaxy. But there were alcoves of unclaimed stars on the margins, between the arms, or on the fringes, where stars are too far apart to justify transit, or where stars seem too unstable to justify a new colony. That's where we found the answers. And finally, the survivors. End of story. Story number 2. Genie, written by a glass of whiskey. He was bored. A beautiful ship outputting the power of his sun. And he was bored. Computer, is there anything on that I haven't seen 1,000,000 times already? There is. Sometimes fires go out. You only have seen that one 104,421 times. Being immortal had its perks, but relief from boredom wasn't one of them. However, I have picked up a signal from a primitive species. Oh, sweet heavens, finally! Some fun. Yes, of course. His favorite pastime, dressing up as a primitive species mythological creatures and granting them wishes, that they would then go horribly wrong, was part of the fun. It was, of course, childish, quite rude, and most likely broke a bunch of intergalactic laws. More importantly, however, it wasn't boring. So, what did they call themselves? Some intel before the show was always good. Although, with holograms, the AI could create it, it didn't matter that much. Humans, it seems, they have a mythological creature called Genie that would fit the circumstances. Even better. All right, I'm ready. Beam one aboard. A chance to mess with some primitive species. Finally. He wondered what the first wish would be. Hopefully world peace. That one was always fun. Showtime! Oh, feeble human, before you, I, an all-powerful genie, stand. You will be given 3 wishes, with 3 rules. No wishing for death, no falling in love, and no bringing anyone back from the dead. What is it that you desire? The rules were mostly there to guide primators away from the boring, predictable stuff. Kill my neighbor, let me bang their wife, and bring back my beloved pet Rufus. Ugh, trouble. The human looked around a bit, confused. Holograms would make sure whatever he saw was fitting for the circumstance. Then it looked as if he had decided on something. Oh, what would it be? I wish my socks were tongues. Right, now how can I spin this to, go wrong? Are you serious? Look, this is clearly not real and I've always wondered, so hurry up now. This wasn't supposed to happen. Did I say 3 rules? Sorry, I meant 4. No wishing for, that. He hadn't expected to wish quite so strange. All-powerful, my Rhea. Come on! It's a part of the rules I just made up. Now get on with the wishing. Fine. I wish for infinite wishes. Now, he was just annoying him for no reason. Whatever, just get on with it. Really? Well, all right then. I want one of those angry worms. His computer started feeding him some information. Do you mean snakes? Let's see. Quite with a very few painful poison. Likes to hide. Feck bringing that on board the ship. No. Bear with chainsaw hands. Was the human just messing with him? How do you feel about world peace? Come on now, the primitives always love that one. Psst, like that can happen. Clearly, the human mind couldn't stretch quite that far. How about a bit smaller then? Peace in the Middle East? Ha! That's even more unlikely. How can it be more... What? No, fuck this. Computer, beam him back. Wait, how about... And then he was gone. Good riddance to him. Computer, start playing Sometimes Fire Goes Out. It was dull, unbearably dull. But after his human experience, he felt that his life needed a little more boredom. End of story. The algorithm reckons you should be watching this video next, and I recommend that you should be always watching my videos. So, click with energy! And yes, clicking that does help the channel. Thank you very much. I would just quickly like to give thanks to our Tier 5 members. Elithia, Barky, Feudicuel, Meridian117, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Albard and Gusta, Savage Patch Papa, and Lord Azrakal.